What's up, guys? Today we're going to be previewing the Week 0 FBS matchups. Our game of the week is Kansas State versus Iowa State, so we're going to spend most of our time on that game, but we're also going to talk about three other FBS matchups this week. So our first game, Kansas State versus Iowa State, being played in Dublin, Ireland, aka Farmageddon, one of college football's longest continuous rivalries, dating back to 1917, with over 108 meetings. Iowa State leads the all-time series 54 to 50 with four draws and carries a two-game winning streak. This neutral site game is being played in Dublin, Ireland this year. All right, Preston, take us away.
All right, for this game, we have a little bit of a QB matchup between a potential Heisman candidate and Avery Johnson and a quarterback really still trying to. He had a good season last year, but he's really still trying to prove himself in Rocco Becht. And honestly, for me, I feel like Kansas State, they have a lot of playmakers that could take over this game, especially against Iowa State, which I think they're a solid team, but they're definitely not a top dog or a front runner in college football right now. And for this game, this is a top 25 matchup, so the stakes are pretty high, especially because it's week zero. Both teams don't really know much about them right now or each other really, as it's week zero and they're still trying to prove themselves and contend for a Big 12 championship and a spot in the college football playoff. All
Yeah,
right, Aiden.
going off what you said, it's a big game. I just realized it was a conference matchup. So, first game of the
Mhm.
week, week 0, we got a conference matchup between two top 25 teams. So this is definitely a big game for each program. You don't want to lose to start the year, especially in a tough Big 12. Nobody knows who's going to win that conference. So starting off the season with a loss would not be good for either team. This is Coach Kleiman's seventh year going into K-State, which is surprising. Comes in ranked 17th in the preseason. And then Avery Johnson returns after having a 2,700-yard passing season and also 600 yards on the ground in 2024. VJ Payne, he's anchoring the Big 12 or anchoring the K-State defense. He has all Big 12 recognitions to start the year. They added some depth on transfers. They added some transfer depth on the O-line and receiver core, and they finished 2024 with a 9-4 record with a Rate Bowl championship. And then Iowa State, led by Matt Campbell, they won 11-3 in 2024 with a Pop-Tart Bowl win. That was actually an interesting game if you remember
Yeah,
that
against
one.
Miami and
Miami, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Cam Ward who sat out.
Yes, he did. They have some defensive line focuses. They got transferred Dominique Orange and transferred Tamatoa McDonough, if I said that right. So those are gonna be some key contributors for them on the defensive side of the ball. And as you were talking about, Rocco Beck comes back. He leads his offense. He has high expectations this year. I want to say this is his second or third year there
I think
starting. So
definitely second year starting. But
yeah, so
he's good, but he's still trying to prove himself for sure.
oh yeah, so definitely a big season for him. So yeah, definitely a big game. Noon Eastern, 6 a.m. Dublin local time. I did not know that. So it's gonna be an 11 a.m. kickoff
Mhm.
here. And the States, K-State is favored by three, and the over/under is set near 49 and a half. You're gonna take the over or the under on this game?
Man, I'm taking the over, man. It's Big 12 football.
I don't know, man. That's a
I know that's not really true anymore because that was like when Oklahoma and Texas was here. Like everyone was like
West Virginia, yeah,
Big
Baylor.
12. No one plays defense, but over the past couple seasons, teams have really stepped it up. But I'm still taking the over. What about
I
you?
think I think I'm gonna take the over as well. 50 points. I mean,
That's 25 each,
I see
man.
25 each. I see both teams going over. And the K-State favored by three. How you feeling about that?
I'm liking it. I'm liking it because it's week zero. I feel like both teams are going to be still be sloppy in some ways. It's week zero. No one's going to be perfect. They're still trying
Yep.
to prove themselves and find their own identity and what works for them. So I feel like it'll be a sloppy game, but I feel like K-State will take it.
All right. Who do you got? Kansas State? You got
Yep.
Kansas State.
Yeah. What about you?
Ah, I'm gonna take K-State as well. I think it's gonna be close down the stretch, but I do think Avery Johnson's gonna lead Kansas State to the win. And I think I'm gonna take Kansas State by 10. So I think this will be, but I do think this will be a really good game. So I'm really looking forward to watching this game.
Yeah, for sure. It'll be a great game. Week zero.
Absolutely. All right. Our next game, Kansas versus Fresno State in
Mm,
Lawrence.
that's going to be a home opener for the Jayhawks, who right now they are major favorites by about 12 and a half points, and the over-under sitting at 50 and a half. But
Mhm.
this year, Fresno State, they're debuting a new coach in Matt Entz with EJ Warner at quarterback. So, Aiden, who do you got for this game, and do you got the over or the under?
Okay. First, I think I'm gonna take What was the over again?
50 and a half.
50 and a half.
Yep.
I'm gonna take the under in this game. I think it's
All
gonna
right.
be low scoring. I can see Kansas scoring like maybe 31, somewhere around there, and Fresno State put up like, I don't know, 17 maybe. So I think it's gonna be close to the spread, but I'm gonna take the under, and then I'm gonna take Kansas winning comfortably.
One more thing about this. How do you feel about Jalen Daniels this year for Kansas? His like eighth year at quarterback for them.
Something like that. He's a new Cam Rising. Um, I don't know. Last season, he was kind of underwhelming. He threw a lot of picks. He wasn't
Yeah.
healthy. So I don't know. If he can stay healthy, he'll be a solid quarterback for the Jayhawks, but we'll see. I mean, I don't really have too high of expectations for him, but I do think Kansas will be a good football team. What about you?
One more thing about the
Oh,
Kansas
sorry.
Jayhawks. Do you think our guys can get any PT this year?
Grading Grimes.
Graydon Grimes
Um,
switching from D line tight end to O line this year. He's in the trenches.
Graydon, if we're watching, we love you. But
Yep.
we'll see. I don't know. It's a question we have to ask him.
I mean, I hope he does, but we'll
I do.
see.
I'm rooting for him. Absolutely.
All
All right, who do
right.
you got? Kansas or Fresno State? Are you taking the over or the under?
I'm gonna take Kansas, but I am gonna take the under. You know, they're favored by 12 and a half points, but I think it's gonna be a little closer than that. I feel like maybe a little like 28-24, 28-21, something around that ballpark.
I can see that happening. Fresno State's definitely a team you don't want to sleep on. So yeah, that could definitely happen
They could definitely upset them. I could definitely see it.
for sure. All right, our next game, Western Kentucky versus Sam Houston State. More roster stability and consistency, and Western Kentucky is favored by 10 points currently.
Yeah, and the over under is at 60 and a half, so they're expecting a little bit of a
That's
scoring
a
game.
high. That's a high spread. Who are you taking?
I think I'm gonna take Western Kentucky in this one by a decent amount, by like at least 21 points, three touchdowns.
21. Okay. I
Yeah,
mean
they're
the
what do you
the
say?
line is 10. I'm gonna take Western Kentucky by 17, I think. Somewhere around there. I think it'll be a comfortable game for Western Kentucky. I'm not really too high on Sam Houston this year in Conference USA. So yeah, I'll
Yeah,
take
there's
Western Kentucky.
yeah, Sam Houston, they're still really building up. You know, they've only been FBS for a couple of few years now,
Yeah,
and they're
two,
and
three
they're
years maybe.
I mean they've improved every year, but I still think that it's a few more years until they can actually start really competing.
Yeah, I agree. All right, our final game, Stanford versus Hawaii in Honolulu. Stanford
Ooh.
continues its rebuilding under a new leadership, while Hawaii looks to ride momentum from a promising rising quarterback and an energized home support. It's a home game in Hawaii for them. They got a decent team in town, so I do think the crowd will play a little factor in this. And Stanford's entering this game as a slight underdog currently, minus 2.5.
Yeah, that's what the playing in Hawaii does to you. But you know, as you mentioned, Stanford with Coach Frank Reich, former NFL coach, a couple times, different positions too, who was fired. But you know, not everyone can make the transition like that. But I really feel like he's going to do great things with his Stanford program and really build them back up to where they used to be. They've had a few down years, but now I feel like a few good years they could really get back to where they want to be. And in
You
this
talk
game, yeah, as you mentioned, Stanford is a slight underdog, but I feel like Stanford really is going to come out blazing and come out with a win against a good home team in
solid
Hawaii,
Hawaii team. I agree.
especially in Honolulu.
I'm gonna take Stanford as well in this. I can see it being close. I do think
Oh,
Hawaii's
for
gonna
sure.
be competitive, but I'm just looking at this from like a recruiting standpoint and talent standpoint. I know Stanford's definitely not a great FBS program, but I do think they're gonna overpower Hawaii, and they should win this game by. I can see them winning by double digits, but I do
Yeah,
think
but
it's gonna be a close game for Stanford.
it's also in Honolulu, and the fans get rowdy out there.
They do, they do. You see they're building a new stadium actually downtown,
Hmm.
or somewhere around there, so that's definitely good for that program going forward.
For sure.
All right, today, so our final thoughts. Week zero, it's headlined obviously by K-State versus Iowa State. That's definitely the matchup of the week for everybody. And Dublin, which is also really cool. So it's gonna be a really competitive game to start the year. And then we also have some other competitive games as well to start off the year. It's definitely gonna be I wouldn't say the most packed week zero, but it's gonna be a fun week zero, starting us off with something slight to start the year. But yeah, this is our last weekend or this was our past weekend was our last weekend of not having any college football. So it's definitely exciting that we're starting the season off now.
Yep, and one thing we gotta mention, there's some good FBS games this week, but there's a lot of good FCS teams that are playing week zero to get that national attention on the national screen.
FCS. Who do you got in the FCS playing?
We have Tarleton versus Portland State.
Tarleton versus Portland State. It's on
Yep.
ESPN too, huh?
Uh-huh. National televised game.
Good for
That's the
those
thing. Some of
programs.
these FCS schools are playing week zero so they can get that national television.
Good for them. They deserve it.
They do. But yeah, that will wrap today's video up of our week zero preview. And thank you all for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and catch us in the next one.
Thank y'all.